trying to join the trials from last time. I'm back with the boys. We've just done a World Cup football life, I think I called it, update. Now we're going to do something. I really hope this is going to go good. I've got notes on. I've turned my light on. I'm probably not even going to be looking at this, and to be honest, we've been so bad that we just pretend I wasn't looking the whole time. This is... We've talked about conspiracies. We were going to do a sort of sit down, but we're not able to sit down and, you know, get a mic and chat. So we're going to have this in the background, but what we're going to hopefully do, and I've got ideas for this, and it's some things that I listen to, because at work I've got hours just sat there, and I've just, you know, you love conspiracy theories, and something I love, not love, because that is so weird with the things we're going to be talking about, something that I like listening to is true crime. This is going to be True Crime Time, episode number 1, 12 pages of notes, one case. Can two people... I know the fact... Well, I say I know the facts. I've done the research. There are no facts, are there, in unsolved cases? Actually, we might do a solved case as well, but I know, and my idea is that maybe... I've seen people, and there's those conspiracy guys on YouTube and people like that who, you know, both of them have done their research and they're coming at it and, you know, wow. But that's been done, hasn't it? How about... I'm doing the research and I'm presenting it to everyone, and I'm presenting it to the other two, and we'll see, because maybe they don't know the cases that much. Lee probably doesn't know this case. We're going to start, and I'm going to ask Lee first. So the first question is going to be, what do any of you guys know about this case? We're going to start with Lee, because Dan might know it a little bit, because he was actually alive when it happened. Like, Lee unfortunately didn't get that chance. Today's episode is the death of John Benet Ramsey. Lee. Whoa, what the hell? That was so loud. Lee, have you heard of John Benet Ramsey?
No, I haven't. Never heard of him.
You know nothing of her?
Nothing. I don't even know who that guy is.
Who she is, yeah.
Who she is.
For God's sake, he's on to a cracking start.
She sounds French.
Damn. You were... You know, alive. You were. You were a kid. You were a kid when this happened.
And he was infused with it.
Do you know about it?
I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell.
You haven't heard of it? Okay, that's fine.
Not until
we're getting into it.
That's a good start.
Okay. We'll paint a scene for you then. It's 1996. I'm 4. I don't remember
this.
I
was only 8.
Yeah, but you might have read about it. Lee, you were
minus... I was -4.
Well, when I was
4. You never know.
I wasn't reading books and magazines and papers when I was 8. I was outside going...
You're outside
like pretending I was a bloody police car or something.
It was Dan. Well, I'm not sure it was Dan. It was on Christmas Eve night / day, so it was sort of... You know, it was sort of Christmas. It was sort of Christmas.
Well, I've been in bed waiting for Santa.
Well, maybe these people were... These people were...
You tell me your location, please, Dan.
This was in... Dan, where were you 1996 before I say where this happened?
I was in bed, mate.
Where to?
France.
Where to?
With Jean.
Where to?
Yeah.
At my house.
Okay, is that in England? That's in England. Yeah. Okay, so this took place in Boulder, Colorado, in the US. So you let off.
That's right.
So the story starts. Here we go. Listen to this, because you guys are gonna come off your fence and try and decide at the end. So Patsy Ramsey, the mum of John Benet Ramsey, who's age 6, wakes up and finds that John Benet Ramsey, her daughter, is missing from her bed. Okay. She goes.
Their daughter John.
John Benet.
Oh, come on, John.
Okay, Lee. Hashtag respect the dead. What happens is in there they've got a huge house. We'll talk about that in a bit, and about the dad and that huge house. The mum and the dad Patsy and John Ramsey. Yep, the kid is called John Benet, and the dad is called John.
Well, we're guessing who called him that then. John, what do you want to call the kid? John.
They live on
Obviously wants the son.
Yeah, he did.
But they do have a son. He's a huge part.
We're assuming that she's a female.
No,
Assume people's genders, Mark.
John Benet Ramsey is
This was in
a beauty.
1996.
She's a
Anyone could do what they
beauty.
want.
She's a beauty pageant 6-year-old. So she's in like those shows, and she's got the
No, one
tiara.
of them.
Yeah.
She's a champion. Okay, so the parents live on the 3rd floor. Yeah, their bedroom is on the 3rd floor at the top of a 3-story house. The kids, they do have 3 kids, but only 2 of them live at home, and they live on the 2nd floor.
Only two of
Okay,
them survived.
they live on out of the 3, but on the 2nd floor are the kids. So she wakes up. Apparently, I'm just putting out what she says. She comes down from the 3rd floor and neatly laid on one of the steps, just up from the bottom, is a 3-page ransom note. Okay. A 3-page ransom note.
What do you mean?
A ransom note, so it's a kid. Yeah, we'll go over the ransom note. I've got pages on that because it is
Written in crayon.
it was absolutely mental. So first thing she does, like she's not in the bed. You know, she checks the bed. So she calls for John. Okay, so she goes, John Benet's
Which one,
missing.
the dad or the daughter?
Yeah, she calls for John Ramsey and says John Benet's missing.
This is confusing.
I know. So she says our
Where's
daughter's
the other
missing.
2 kids?
They said, what do we do? We'll get to them. What do we do? He says, ring the police. Okay. Okay.
Right.
One of the things
Where
that
are the other 2 kids? Why wouldn't they be in the room with her?
we'll get to the other 2 later. He says call the police. Now the call is really, really, really strange, and we'll come on to it in a bit more detail later on. But it's a really strange call. Like you can tell, it's like she sort of calls up, and you can listen to this on YouTube. She calls up, and you know when you're like not paying attention, and then someone said like 911, and she's like, oh my god, hello. My daughter's missing, and then she's like really unhelpful and like not listening. They're like, "What's happened? My daughter," and it's like, "Where's she missing from?" The bed. Where is she? Missing. And then she keeps saying what? And then she goes, "There's a ransom note." And then the operator says, "Does the note say who took her?" And she keeps going, "What?" You know, like really, just strange, saying what? You know, not helping the police. The end of the call is something that we'll come back to again later, because there's something in after the call. She thinks she's hung up, and that is going to be a reason why people, and little spoiler, think that Patsy might have been involved.
Oh.
Okay, so she's made the call to 911. Yeah, she come downstairs. There's a ransom note. Calls the police, acts all strange, mental. Here we go. So Lee, this will answer one of your things after the call. So John Benet 6 lives and was sleeping in the same room on the 2nd floor. What?
Yeah.
What are you confused about?
The mum's come down, gone to her daughter's room, straight as way has gone. She's missing.
Yeah, because she's seen the
not
note.
checked the house.
No, she's seen the note. Oh, Lee's going to be good in this series, right?
What did he say? What did he say?
He
Well,
said
I'm
that
just
she didn't
confused
check the house. She didn't
check the house. She
no.
went straight to.
No, Lee.
Imagine I did that.
You're jumping
I've been doing it a lot.
He's jumping
Well,
ahead.
if she'd already put her daughter to bed and
Yeah.
then she saw the ransom note,
Yeah, but
of course
she-
she'd
No,
check the bedroom first.
no. She's woken up. She's woken up in the morning, come downstairs, seen the note.
Okay.
She's missing, and then she calls the police. This is on the 2nd floor.
It's big. It's big.
Still on the 2nd floor. Okay, so Lee
It's a big
asked,
step
where's the kid? Where's the other kid?
What?
Okay, so
Yeah.
John Benet is 6, and she is sharing a room with her 9-year-old brother, Burke, who is apparently...
9.
He's apparently asleep throughout the whole thing, okay? They don't
Oh.
wake him up, okay? So here's the first thing that people think, is if you think and you truly believe that your daughter has been kidnapped, you might want to grab the kid and, keep him close. Do you know what I mean? Apparently, they didn't wake him up from the time he went to bed until later on, again a spoiler, when they find the body, okay? Apparently he's asleep the whole time. He's loving it. He's asleep.
Am I the only one that thinks a 9-year-old kid is going to wake up when their mum's on the phone to the police, probably shouting? That's a bit of a dodgy one.
Well, she was acting strange. As Lee was jumping ahead to, here's what the parents do. They only search the second floor. They don't look elsewhere. They search the second. Where is she? Should we go downstairs, John? He's like, nah. Just she must be under the bed. So they don't go downstairs, okay? They don't go downstairs until the cops come, okay? Until the police come. So the first police officer there, and we'll talk about her in a bit more because she gives like testimony and things like that, is a woman called Linda Arndt, okay? She's the first policeman there. And the police, okay, they admit that they could have been better, but you got to think about it. There wasn't like something like this. They're thinking at this stage is a kidnapping and ransom, yeah.
Yes.
They haven't had anything like this happen in Boulder. It's Christmas night. There's like no one there at the police station because they're all like, you know, thinking about their turkey and that. They go and get a call going, there's a kidnapping of a kid, and they're thinking, it's bloody Christmas, mate. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So Linda gets to the house and she said the parents, and in her words, are acting really strange. Okay? The first thing that Linda says that is strange is so you're following along so far. They've gone downstairs, gone to the second floor, seen the note, not missing. She's not missing. Calls the police. Okay. After this phone call, so before the police get there and Linda gets there, so they've called the police 911. Oh my god, like being really weird. What do you think they did next?
Add a tea.
What do you think they did next, Dan? Did they?
What?
What do you think they did after they called the police? So they called the police and they're like, "Oh my god, she's missing." What? What you saying? Oh my god, stop asking.
Or something?
Did they search the rest of the house? Do you reckon?
No, they probably
did
didn't,
they
probably killed her.
Did they wake up
Allegedly.
Did they wake up? Yeah, we've got to say. Did they wake up little Burke and say, "Come here, mate"? You know, have you seen your sister?
That would be step one.
What they did was they called all of their friends and neighbours to come round.
Okay. Well, to help to look for the kid, I suppose. Okay.
They didn't.
Maybe.
They didn't.
Kinda makes sense.
They didn't look until the friends had got there, and until the police had got there. They just stayed and waited. You never know how you're going to react. You might call,
Maybe they were
your
a bit
friends.
scared.
But normally what
Maybe.
happens is the police come, don't they? And they talk to you, and then they say, is there anyone we can call? Do you know what I mean? Have you got any friends, like, who can come over and look after Burke? But no, they just were like, she's gone missing. Call your mate. Call the neighbours. Get everyone round. Are they, is this doing a little bit of, contamination of a crime scene? Who knows? So Linda, the policewoman, says that John Ramsey, the dad, is an absolute bag of nerves. Okay, he's not handling himself. He's acting a little bit wacky. She gets there and she is shocked, in her words, that they haven't searched around. Yeah, they haven't looked.
Yeah, that's what
she
do.
gets there and she's like, "Have you looked the house?" And they're like, "It looked on the second floor in the bedroom." And she's like, "Right, okay, John is going absolutely, like, driving everyone up the wall. He's being a bit of a mentalist here. He's sort of acting weird. Send him and his mate is called, I've got it, Fleet White is his friend. Fleet White, one of the friends, what a name, who's come round, and she's like, oh, John, just, like, go and have a look round. Like, just do something else, do you know what I mean? Go and have a look. But remember, the police think this is a ransom. They're not thinking, go and find the body in the house, because why would that happen? Do you know what I mean? They're just like, John, get out of the way, mate. Go and have a look.
Yeah.
Go and check the house. And the police don't think it. If you look at afterwards, there's like, it doesn't look like the window's smashed or the door's broken or there's no footprints leading the way, and it was snowing at the time. It was snowing all night. So they don't expect it. So John, okay, what do you think John did first then? John Ramsey sent off with his friend Fleet White. Where do you think he went first to have a look?
If it's McDonald's, I'm gonna smack him. I'm gonna
in
smack him.
the house. So he's only looked on the second
Sat down on
floor.
the sofa.
And Linda
Probably
says, go and look round the house for her.
In the garage or something. Go and have a look round in there.
So John, you know, oh, he's been a bag of nerves. He's only looked on the
Goes down
second
to the
floor.
basement.
He goes, yeah, into the back room of the basement, in the cellar room. That's his first looking place. Right in the basement, right in the back corner. And, okay, Fleet White's gone down with him. Yeah, his friend. And this is a testimony from Fleet White, is that he follows John down, you know, because, you know, she says, go with John, look around the house. Apparently, John Ramsey walks straight to the back room cellar door, and before turning on the light in this room, says, she's in here. Okay, Fleet White says it was completely pitch black in the room. He basically walked up to a room and went, there she is. There she is. The body was, John Benet was wrapped in duvet and sheets, which seems a little bit strange how he could even see that it was a body. Like, if you, they did an experiment on the, I think it's CBS documentary, where if it's completely pitch black, yeah, and your eyes can only see 1.5 foot when you open a door, if it's pitch black inside.
The eyes wouldn't have been adjusted yet.
Yeah, and they said you can do
all.
like 1.5 foot, like 30 centimeters as you open a door. But no, according to Fleet White, the friend, he apparently just opened the door and went, she's in here. Okay, very strange. What does he do next? Do you think John shouted for police straight away? Did he go, she's down here, she's down here? Think he did that? Did he check the pulse, do you think?
Yeah, it would have been a good idea to check, but
Did he
probably not.
think, oh my god, if she's dead, I better not go in here because there'll be DNA and all that, won't there?
Probably went and touched it all.
John Ramsey picks up John Benet, cradles her in his arms, walks through the whole house, up into the living room, and plonks her in the middle of the room, on the floor,
there she is.
and goes, found her. Okay, the police are absolutely going mental, because they haven't been looking for a dead body. No, they haven't been looking for a dead body. They've been going, if you like put out a little search thing, if you see a blonde 6-year-old girl, beauty pageant, she's been taken, there's a ransom note, and then he just brings up a body and like, here she is. They take the duvet off. It's covered in like a white duvet and some sheets, and it's pretty obvious that she's dead. First look and the first thing is that she's been strangled by a homemade garrote. So you know, like off Hitman, where he gets he has the wire between his two hands, like he strangles people with that. That sort of garrote. So what are you thinking now? This is where people... This is where it becomes a little bit strange. It's a kidnapping with a ransom note, but have you ever heard of a kidnapping where a guy writes a ransom note but then kills his kidnapped victim in the same place? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Why the note? Like, he's like, I'll go and kidnap someone, writes a note, and then he's like, oh, what if I get caught? And then he just kills her. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Playing games, maybe. You know.
Maybe. Could be sick.
I'll put your hopes up, but...
Are you giving a biased documentary, or is it definitely the parents?
No one said it's the parents. I'm not giving bias at all.
No, just to me.
So far, you're thinking the parents.
Well, obviously, no. Obviously, you're going to think it depends because all the facts.
The fact that,
not the fact, but all the things that are saying, all the things that are leading, all the things that the documentary and I don't know, Wikipedia have been saying or whatever like that probably have led you to believe. Oh yeah, it's the parents, because it's so biased towards.
Yeah. There are facts.
It's definitely the parents, but I think they know about it because he went straight to the body.
Yeah, I'm just saying these things are strange. But if your daughter died, you never know, and you might have gone down there straight away, and you might have, without thinking, you might have picked her up. You might have, exactly, and you might have picked her up and brung her and started crying. Yeah, there are things that happen that point to other people. It just seems with the amount of things happening so far, it just seems a little bit strange. That's all. I'm not trying to put it on anyone because we'd be sued.
So what was there any? You might say, but the DNA.
We'll get into that
Surely
later. DNA will be coming later, son. Don't you worry.
Was John crying?
Yeah, he was crying. He brung her up. He was like cradling her in his arms. He was distraught. So the problem, like I just said, if there was a ransom, and you might have thought maybe, he wrote the note, and then got the kid, and then, you know, stepped on the thing. Do you know what I mean? He might have wrote the note first, and then got the kid, and then killed her because he regretted it, or accidentally killed her. But the note didn't have any footprints on it, which is a little bit strange, because you would have thought someone might have stepped on it. Okay, but that's just I think far it's just thinking, if someone's going to kidnap someone, why do they kill him straight away? But okay, so we'll talk about the
question.
Yeah.
What was the ransom note? Did it tell you what the ransom note was?
Yeah, I've got like 4 pages on the note, mate.
Nice.
It's a crazy note. The garrote then, so the strangulation, was made from the wire, the nylon wire, was taken from Patsy Ramsey, the mum's arts and crafts spot. The nylon wire.
Yeah.
That strangled her with was taken from Patsy Ramsey's, the mum's arts and crafts box. Okay.
Right.
Which was next to where she was found. It was in the cellar. And it was tied with a paintbrush from the same box. That was like what was, you know, they broke the paintbrush to sort of be the strangulation thing. The strange part about that is there a killer who's going to come in with a ransom and then not bring a weapon? I'm not sure if this killer thought there'll be a murder weapon there. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was someone from the outside, he was very lucky that he managed to find all he needed to find. That's what we're gonna say. But you never know.
Unless
You might. He maybe didn't want to kill.
Maybe he had a gun and he wanted to. Maybe.
We'll go to the ransom note that was written. The 3-page ransom note was taken, and this is proven from this is an actual fact, was proven from the pages, you know, where you can see the pages ripped out of a notebook, was ripped out from Patsy Ramsey's notebook. So the pages were torn out. The pages were torn out from there. The notebook was in the house, like in the kitchen. Yeah, but the killer, if we're saying the killer came in,
it's too obvious that it was.
Yeah, but if the killer came in, do you know what I mean, and didn't have a weapon, it's not within the realms of possibility that he also took the paper. That don't prove anything. It was from her notebook. So we'll go to a post-mortem, which doesn't quite get on to the DNA that Dan is talking about, because that will come a little bit later. But so far you'd be thinking she'd been strangled. The post-mortem threw up something else, though, that John Benet had been knocked out with a strong blunt object 45 minutes before she was strangled. Okay, this smack on the back of the head was so hard that if she didn't get treated, then she would have. They said this could have killed her. It would have been fatal. It took a matchbox-sized chunk missing from the back of her skull. It seems weird that if you hit someone, why would you then strangle them? Is a sort of a strange thing. They eventually
put them under misery, probably, or because she's scared.
Yeah, they eventually found the thing that
shut her up.
They found the thing that hit her on the back of the head, and that was a flashlight, a torch, that was found in the kitchen, center of the kitchen, on the kitchen counter, was a torch that was matched. You know, the wound matched the object. This torch, though, had no fingerprints on it. Okay, good job by, you know, whoever used it to clean the fingerprints from the outside. But they also had the fingerprints wiped from the batteries and the inside. And now, if you have a torch, you would have your fingerprints on the batteries inside. You know, if you put them in there, why would someone go to the extremes of wiping the inside as well? Well, whoever wiped the torch and got rid, because someone did wipe the torch, because you can't just lose every fingerprint from everything. they did a really good job of it, which is a little bit strange.
They must have had time.
They must have had time to. This is something we'll come on to later as well. They had time to.
Well, yeah, that's the 45 minutes. They smacked her, then wiped her, and all that. And after the 45 minutes, whatever it was, then strangled her.
Then realised she wasn't actually that dead.
Yeah. So huge thing is this note. Then I've got 1, 2, 3 and a bit pages on this note. Okay, and this was 3, 2.5, 3 pages long. There's a few things I haven't copied it all out. I've copied out, the bits that are the most strange. Okay, so the note is addressed to John Ramsey, the dad. Okay, so it starts, Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We'll stop there. Have you ever written anything in your life where you've started with listen carefully?
Well, if it's a ransom note, then yeah.
But why wouldn't you say read carefully?
Well, I don't know.
Listen carefully.
It's just a typo.
And this is one of the things that people think that
they were talking.
Yeah, this is one of the things is that the note, and this is from handwriting analysts. The note is apparently written by a female, by a woman, but it is dictated, read to, by a man. So there's like sort of 2 people, and it might have been like, I'm not saying it's John and Patsy, but it sort of sounds like at the start there's a man going, listen carefully to what I'm about to say, and the actual person puts, listen carefully. Do you know what I mean? They put, listen carefully.
That's too stupid, sure.
Yeah, well, these people seem strange with this note. We are a group of individuals who represent, a small foreign faction.
Oh, come on, this is too, made up.
The weird thing...
The bloody ISIS or Anonymous or something.
Well, the weird thing is, if you think about ISIS, what do they think? They think they're the best, don't they? Do you think ISIS would ever say, we're just a small group of guys, we're just chill, we're just a small group of guys? Like a small foreign faction, it seems a little bit strange. Gets a little bit weirder. They go on to say, we respect your business, Mr. Ramsey, but not the country it serves. Okay, Mr. John Ramsey and the Ramseys, he is a millionaire, yeah, he's a really successful businessman. Owns loads of things. This sort of seems like if he has written it, he's sort of put a compliment in for himself straight away. Great business, mate. Love your business, but we've taken your daughter because we hate America. Like, it just seems a little bit strange.
That is, yeah, who'd write that?
It just seems like a very nice compliment from a kidnapper. They go on and they say, at this time we have your daughter in our possession. That's a lie. That's one thing we can say is a definite lie. What if they wrote the note after, or do you know what I mean? We've said about that. It seems we have your daughter in our possession, but they've killed her.
What? She's down the stairs.
And plus, this ransom note will be read. Who knows? Like 8 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours later. Anyway, so why would
well, it's a note meant to say we've got someone. Give us something. That's what a ransom thing is, and it's saying we have your... Okay, a little bit strange, but maybe it was an accidental thing. She is safe and unharmed. Okay, again, a blatant lie, because she's downstairs with her head smacked in and strangled.
Right.
If you want her to see 1997, because remember this is Christmas Day 1996, so they're giving him a week, not that long. But a week. They said if you want her to see 1997, then you must follow our instructions to the letter. Okay, a little bit of a week. A week is a bit harsh, I think, but okay. A quick note is that looking at the note, and again, this is handwriting experts in analysis, is that there's a few spelling mistakes. So, throughout the note, and they're sort of the same spelling mistakes that Patsy makes. Like, she always spells the same word. The words that she spells wrong are also wrong in the note.
Oh,
but
so they looked at it and went, oh yeah, that word's wrong. Patsy, can you
yeah, they looked at she had there was photos of her writing in some albums and things like that, and she had the same words wrong. So here we go. They haven't even mentioned money yet, have they? Not mentioned money. No. They don't mention anything. Here they go.
Well, that's coming.
You will withdraw $118,000 and 0 cents.
Okay, bit precise, but
a bit precise. You could almost say very precise, because that was the exact Christmas bonus that John Ramsey had just paid himself from his business, 118,000. So very good research there. If they knew how much he was making, seems that the odd thing is, if it is, it could be a ransom sort of thing. Why not start at like 10 million or something? Like, give us 118 grand. Like,
it's not very high for a millionaire, is it?
It's sort of like what he knows. Okay. One of the reasons they think it's a woman, and later on we'll get into, like, we said the spellings and we said about the handwriting's a little bit like Patsy's, but that could just be coincidence. Why handwriting analysts think that it's a woman is because some of the like words that they write are just words that a man would generally not use, and one of them is the word attaché. Okay, attaché meaning a bag, a little, like a whole.
Hang on, I'll just stop you there. If you said before that they said that John was reading it, was reading it, or
yeah, exactly.
Well, she read, but why was she, unless she was trying to cover it up by writing her own words?
Yeah, he said bag, and then she was like, "Oh no, just say this instead."
So we'll get on to. There's a little bit next coming up. So the note says, make sure you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. Very caring.
Okay, well,
very caring of the kidnapper to say, make sure you bring a big enough bag. Yeah, the attaché word seems strange.
Why would you go to a bank as well? Like, I'm no kidnapping ransom person.
Well, because they're saying you need to go to the bank and withdraw the money. Attaché seems strange. It seems like whoever wrote the note realised that attaché was strange, because the next line they go on and say, then you'll bring it home and put it in a bag, a brown bag. So they've realised maybe attaché wasn't right. But what they found out, and this is again from, where you write on a notepad and they can do that, they can see the bits written on the pages before, underneath, like where they can see the imprints. This was the third draft of this note. There was 2 pages missing that had stenciling and a pre-draft of this note. So this is the third time that a supposed killer has written this 3-page note. The FBI made it, said, like, they gave someone this note and said, write it. Like, how long does it take someone to write this note out in full? 27 minutes it takes someone to write this note out in full. Third time, so an hour and a half. We're expected to think that a killer is inside the house going, attaché. Not really liking that. Do you know what I mean? If it is an intruder, whoa, he is cool as a cucumber. He's just sat there like, loving life. He's like, nah, scrap that. Very strange.
Really not looking good.
Not looking good. It goes on to say, I will call you tomorrow between 8 and 10 AM to arrange, to instruct delivery of the money. They call the police at 5 AM is when they call the police, and they wait through 10 o'clock. So Linda and the police say that the parents wait through 10 o'clock. So they've called the police at 5. They don't start looking till after 10, because they're sitting there sort of thinking about the money. They're thinking, oh, better give the money. She's not, not missing. Someone will call to arrange the money. Linda and some other police officers say that the parents were acting very strange between 8 and 10. Sort of sat there very nervously. Sort of like, if they did do it and they wrote the note, then it must have been weird to wait there and realise that no one is going to call. And if someone did call, imagine someone did phone, then you'd be like, what the hell? Like, here's where it gets a little bit strange. If you remember back, they called themselves a small foreign faction, and they want 118.
They can say an attaché.
Attaché, but they want 118,000. They're a small foreign faction. They go on to say, if we monitor you getting the money early, then we will call you early for sooner pickup and delivery of your daughter. Now that seems, one, that's the weirdest sentence ever, because it keeps saying, like, if we see you getting the money early, we will call you early for pickup of the money and your daughter. You know what I mean?
How can they see them?
I know. Do you think they're only spending 118,000 they want, and apparently we're meant to believe that they're sort of across the road, sort of like watching.
Yeah, like surveillance. Yeah.
Like, how much are these people spending? Like, if you were actually, say you were watching the police and you're watching the house and you're watching the bank, that's got to cost you like 50k, ain't it? Like, they're not going to make a good profit here. It goes on to say, remember, they haven't given any threats yet. They've been the nicest, the very nice kidnappers. They've complimented John.
Very nice bomb.
They've complimented John, and they've sort of said, don't like America. They do sort of try and make a bit of a threat now, and they say, any deviation of my instructions... Oh, a little bit weird, because everything else has been written, you will do this, you will follow our plans. That says, any deviation from my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. Okay. A little bit odd to change. You will also be denied her remains for a proper burial. No, that's a bit harsh. That's a very harsh thing to say. And then this is a very strange threat that happens. The two gentlemen watching your daughter are not very fond of you, so do not provoke them. Okay, so now we know that there's two people watching her, and they don't like John, even though he's got a great business, but they're not a big fan of John. How can you?
The guy writing this is.
My question is, how can you provoke someone you don't know? Like, what could you do to two people you don't know to provoke someone? Like, it hasn't said they've got. It hasn't said they're like fat or something, and they're gonna send them a message
but
saying.
How are they gonna know they're there? They're gonna see this ransom later. How are they gonna provoke them at all?
I don't know. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as the police or FBI, will result in your daughter being beheaded. And this, I cut that down because it was like, speaking to anyone about your situation, such as the police or FBI, going to the bank and telling them, you know, doing this, which all could have been in like one sentence, like, don't tell anyone or else we'll cut your daughter's head off. Remember, what was the first thing that they did after reading the note? Can you remember what the first thing they did when they went downstairs?
Went to their room.
Yeah, what did they do?
Oh, just rang their friends.
Yeah, before that, they rung the...
Oh, the police.
But they've just read a note that says, if you call the police, we'll chop your daughter's head off. And they're like...
Well, you would though, wouldn't you? You would sort of, maybe. In some well, I'm not listening. I will call the police, I don't care.
Yeah, it just seems like a little bit... It's a ballsy move. You can try, it goes on to say, you can try and deceive us, but be warned, we are very familiar with law enforcement's tactics and procedures. Okay. Very nice, very good. Foreign group, they know all about America. You stand 90, this is crazy for me. Big odds. You stand 99% of your chance of your daughter dying if you try to outsmart us. You stand 100% chance of her return if you follow our instructions.
What?
So 99%, 99 if you try. Good odds. It's a big change that 1% to 100 is. That's pretty good, isn't it? And that's like sort of, it ends with some sort of, you know, like it says something like, John, you've got common sense. Use your southern charm or something. And then it's like 3 initials like SBD or something. One of the things about the note is like it could what's a 3-page note? You could just say, I've got your daughter, give me £1 million. If you say anything to the police or try and contact anyone, we'll kill her. End of note. What's this rambling?
Yeah, especially at ransom though.
What is this rambling? Okay. That's the end of the note. So now we'll go on to a couple of the suspects. Suspect number 1. Main suspect is Patsy Ramsey, the mum.
Yeah.
Why Patsy? So we've talked about her spelling. We talked about her spelling mistake.
I'm not even saying allegedly.
No, well, she's dead, so respect the dead.
Okay. No.
And she can't sue you. She can't sue you. So she's shown the handwriting looks the same. They think it's by a woman. On the CBS documentary, they match. They do this really. I just crashed right at the end. They do this really cool overlay of Patsy's writing on a note and the actual ransom note, and they put the letters on top of each other, and they say at least riding a bloody BMX, and they say they look really similar, and they say to her, do these two letters look the same? And she says they couldn't look any more different if they tried. And they say to her, would you be surprised if I said one of these is your handwriting and one of these is a ransom note? And she says, no, I wouldn't be shocked, because those two things look absolutely worlds apart, and you can look it up. They look very similar. Like they do the B, it's not like they do a B backwards or a funny E. Okay, so
did it have any fingerprints on it? Surely the paper would have had something on it.
I don't know if they did fingerprints on the note.
Surely you would have held the paper still and or something. I don't know.
I don't know. So we can't just pin it on them acting strange in a note, because that's not going to hold up in a court. So what other things point to the Ramseys? So the torchlight that we said smacked her and delivered that blow on the back of the head was found on the kitchen table. That belonged to the Ramseys. The garrote was made from all of Patsy's arts and crafts stuff that was found downstairs. We're moving now on to DNA. Dan mentioned a long time ago. So you do DNA on the body. They can still do a little bit of DNA. He's moved it around the crime scene, John. Maybe he wasn't thinking. There's not too much DNA, but there are small skin cell DNA under John Benet's fingernails that belong to 2 males and 1 female. Okay? And who's in the family? 2 males, John and Burke and Patsy. That's not strange, though, to me, that if you live with someone and you're a little girl, you're bound to have your family's DNA under your fingerprints and under your fingernails. That's not strange. Gets a little bit gruesome now. In her underwear, there is DNA from another man, which is not from the Ramsey family and has not been matched in 1.6 million police samples.
Seriously?
It's not on the thing. No one knows. So it's not the Ramseys that have a DNA on her underwear, and I'm not talking like she's been raped. Like it could be saliva.
Could be like a thingy.
So obviously, maybe
so that suggests that's
someone else then, maybe.
Or this suggests an intruder, doesn't it? Who's written a crazy note and has done something. She doesn't really have.
Could have paid someone off.
Doesn't really have clear signs of being raped.
Wait, didn't she do boutique stuff and that?
She did
about a guy,
a beauty pageant.
Dressed, not in a bad way.
Well, they just come back from. It was Christmas Eve. They just come back from a party at a friend's house, and what they were going to do, they come home late. They were going to open their presents, and then they were going to go to see other family straight away. Like Boxing Day. Well, they don't do Boxing Day, but end of Christmas Day in America. So they were only just back. Patsy says that was clean underwear, because you could say it could have been from, they said she was just back, she had clean underwear, so it must have come from, that day or that night.
What about laundrette or something?
Why would she say that?
Well, she just
say, oh yeah, it's clean underwear. And she obviously gave it to her and just put it out on the bed or something for her to wear that day. Why would she go?
One of the reasons why she might have known is that John Benet wet the bed nearly every night.
Okay.
So she would probably know a bit about when she gave it to her. Talking about the party though, and Linda Arndt, the first police officer there, notes that Patsy Ramsey when you know she answers the door and that. So they've been to the party from the night before. Linda says that Patsy was wearing a full face of makeup and the clothes that she wore to the party from the night before. According to Linda, she said that it looked like Patsy hadn't been asleep. I'm not sure if you can. I don't wear makeup.
No, you can't tell.
I'm not sure you can. I'm not sure you can sleep without knocking any of your makeup off and having a perfect face. If she wasn't asleep, then surely she would have heard you would have heard an intruder. That's a little bit strange. That sort of. So we've gone from there's a DNA of some unknown man. It's a man DNA who's not John, who's not Burke, who's not a Ramsey in her underwear. So that was intruder. Now it sort of seems like Patsy was up. Let's move to the crime scene. There are pictures. So there's a window in the room that she was found in the cellar room. It's sort of like, do you know, in those American houses in the basement where they've got like sort of that small window that's sort of like, it's at ground level? Do you know what I mean? Like the square window that's like right at the ground. Now the window is a bit smashed and it's taped up. So they sort of when they're looking for how an intruder got in, they're saying, well, it must be, you know, the little smashed window down here. And there was like a suitcase. The police think that there was a suitcase propped up, so facing upwards, that apparently the intruder came through and used that to like step down on. Do you know what I mean? Like step down through that and stepped onto the suitcase and then went into the house. On the window though were undisturbed cobwebs. They did it on the CBS documentary as well to see if undisturbed cobwebs, old cobwebs. They did it on the CBS. They tried like this really petite like woman to see like, can you get through this window without knocking these cobwebs? And even she couldn't do it. And she was like really tiny. So like, surely, and there was no footprint on the suitcase. John Ramsey later said, a couple years later, that he actually broke that window when he was locked out of the house once. So.
Oh well, so he's pretty much done himself there.
No, he said he was locked out once and he didn't have his key, so he smashed the window. And well, no, because he said he smashed it and then taped it up because it was taped up a little bit, and didn't bother to fix it. And the intruder come through and didn't disturb the cobwebs like a magical intruder.
Oh, I see.
Okay. So that's sort of where the sort of investigation sort of led to in 1996. The police stopped short of charging the Ramseys. They did not charge the Ramseys. They filed papers to charge Patsy Ramsey, not with the kidnapping. They were really, really, really going to charge her with obstruction of justice because they really think, and really thought at the time, that she wrote the note. They were thinking she might have had nothing to do with this, but she definitely wrote that note because of the handwriting, because of the words. They didn't do it in the end. I don't know why. They just left it. The Ramseys put up 100,000 reward for information. However, they took that down 3 months later because they decided that they had enough of Boulder, and they moved back to where they originally come from, which was Atlanta, Georgia. So one more reason why it might have been Patsy, because you sort of sat there thinking, okay, it's sort of, if it's pointing to Patsy, why? One idea is that she was at the end of her tether. It's Christmas Day. They come back from a long trip. John Benet's wet the bed again. She's fuming with her because she's always wet in the bed, and she just loses it. Because there are cases of where the parents and parents have killed their kids before when they've been fuming, and a bedwetting thing sort of goes to that.
So did she hit her in the bed?
Yeah, that's the strange thing. If it was her, then what?
In the bed?
I don't think there was. No, there was.
Because you wouldn't grab
the DNA
her,
sort of
to the
went.
basement, if you were that angry with someone, you wouldn't go, right, that's it, I'm grabbing you, taking you to the basement, and I'm going to
and then strangle you after.
Yeah.
I think
you would lose your temper there and then.
But yeah, nothing. So Patsy, you know, they lived their life. They moved back to Atlanta. Nothing happened in this case until 2006. Patsy died of ovarian cancer. I think she died of. And in 2008, the Ramsey family were cleared by the police. They said you didn't have anything to do with this. They didn't clear.
No one else is involved.
They didn't clear one person only, and this is why the case.
Patsy.
They cleared Patsy and John. They didn't clear Burke, little old 9-year-old Burke. And you might have seen this 2 years ago after the 20th anniversary. He was on Dr. Phil. This is where it really come into question. So why are we leaning towards Burke towards the end of this then? So. Burke was apparently, remember what I said?
Asleep.
He was asleep the whole time, even though they were looking. They didn't keep him close. Burke was later asked, was he asleep the whole time? He said that his mum came in and said, have you seen John Benet? And he said no, and then he went back to sleep. He went on to Dr. Phil. You know that guy, the annoying guy. He did an interview because it come out saying, oh, everyone's suspecting you. And he did sort of a thing, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called, it's like Juniper's Delight, which is where you can't help, where you tell a lie and smile. And people think that he was showing that on the show because he gets asked, like, did you kill your sister? And he's smiling his head off, saying, no. Look at the evidence, and he's smiling his absolute head off. And then Dr. Phil's like, he's smiling his head off because he's nervous, and he's he hasn't had any friends, but he's like he's smiling his head off on this interview. Why did people suspect him? Because he didn't do any interviews. 20 years later, people are like, mate, it was Bert. He comes on smiling his head off, but why would people say it's him? Let's have a look. So the police found out that John Benet had wet the bed. I'm not even trying this race. Had wet the bed on the night that she died, and you know what they found in her stomach as well during the autopsy? They found chunks of pineapple. Pineapple. Her favourite treat was pineapple, and she had it been, with the timeline and the autopsy, she had wet the bed and then gone downstairs and had pineapple. So she wet the bed, woken up, and then gone and had pineapple. Were there any fingerprints on that pineapple, did I hear you say?
Yeah.
There were fingerprints from little old Burke, who was apparently asleep the whole night. So Burke has been feeding John Benet pineapple. So at some point during that night, Burke was up with John Benet. He was awake with John Benet at some point during the night because he gave her pineapple.
That might have been. It might have been. Please don't. Here we go. Have some pineapple if you promise don't not to wet the bed.
Yeah. A theory is that Burke hit John Benet with the flashlight, and then the whole thing ensued from that because the family were covering it up. Have you heard of those cases where, a sibling kills another sibling, and then the family covers it up because they're like, we don't want to lose 2 kids in one night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's. Why might we think that? Because that seems sort of, he might have been down, like you said. Well, remember I said, straight at the start, I said about that phone call, and I was going to come back to that phone call where they called the police. They did the phone call. What did a note say? What are you asking me questions for? Where's she missing from? The house. What did the note say? What? Yeah. Okay, the end of the call, the Ramseys think that they've hung up. However, the operator stays on the line, and this is on YouTube as well, and you can hear Patsy Ramsey say, "What have you done?" And then another voice, which is presumably John, says, "Go to your room."
Oh.
Could a young 9-year-old kid, which Burke was, hit John Benet that hard, cracked her skull, took a chunk out of it, and then they were covering it up? I'm a little bit. Well, that's what we're trying to think.
It does sound kind of dodgy.
Burke himself says in the interview, a 9-year-old could not hit a kid with that much power. to take a chunk out of someone's head.
I do agree with that one.
They're in the CBS.
If the kid was only 6, it's not going to take that much.
In the CBS documentary, they made like a crash test dummy, made it all realistic, and they give this little 9-year-old. It sort of looks like Burke as well, which is mental. They give him a torch, and they're like, hit that as hard as you can, and he clobbers this thing, yeah. And you look at the back of the heads on both. They look identical.
They're quite similar.
They look identical. So, something more pointing at Burke is that loads of witness reports say that a couple of months before the death of John Benet, he did attack her with a golf club. So, he's got a bit of a violent streak.
Oh, for God's sake.
So it's not really unsolved.
Wow, it still is. In 2006, so we'll jump back a little bit, John Mark Carr was arrested in Thailand for child pornography, and as he was arrested, he said that he killed John Benet during a break-in. He was in Boulder, Colorado on Christmas. He was looking for a house to break into. He saw a pretty young thing, and he ended up killing her. Turns out that he was on CCTV camera. He was in Georgia at the time, so he's one of those sick guys who think that it's good to, those who think I'll take, but they've done something and they're like, I did that one. You didn't, mate. You weren't there. Yeah, Patsy died in 2006. They were officially cleared in 2008, and in 2016 was the Burke interview with Dr. Phil. It's gone a little bit quiet since then, mainly because of the fact is, and I haven't said it, and in a minute we will use the word allegedly when we say what we think happened. It's gone a little bit quiet because Burke, he's liking a sue. I'll tell you that for a fact. He is suing anyone who says it's him. Anyone.
Well,
it's sort of gone. The last thing I heard was that a couple called up. There was a death in 2012 of a young girl, and someone called up with a tip saying that death was linked to John Benet, and it was some sort of child sex ring, where they like get them and sell them, and it just went wrong. But I couldn't find anything else on that, and to this day, this is going to be my closing thing. To this day, the case remains unsolved. 12 pages of notes. An intriguing tale of mystery and intrigue. And I put it to you, Lee. Could you present your alleged turn of events with the word alleged, because you have no clue what happened, but what did you think happened on December 24th/25th, 1996? Who killed John Benet?
Well, evidence points to it being doesn't it?
But then we've got the DNA on the underwear. That is someone else.
Laundrette or something. I don't think. Could be anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what people.
Maybe.
Go on.
Maybe she goes to this party. Someone allegedly.
They're all at the party.
She's only 6.
They're all at the party. It's like a family thing.
Yeah, someone allegedly, some other member of the family allegedly touches the girl.
Okay.
She's upset all night. Wets her bed again. So the boy's like, okay, I'll take you down. She carries on crying. She's upset about this alleged rape, nearly. And then Bert's like, oh, shut up, it's Uncle Jim or something. Don't say that because you'll get him in trouble and all that. And like, stop lying.
Yeah.
Clops her around the head because she keeps on crying and like pushes him away and that. Then he goes and tells his parents what he's done. Then they write the note and strangle her to put out her misery and that.
Okay.
my theory. Allegedly.
Dan?
It's him, wasn't it?
It's you, Burke. Allegedly Burke. Why Burke? What do you think happened? Like, what was the chain of events? But what was the chain of events? Do you think?
She obviously got up. Maybe wet the bed. Well,
yeah, she definitely wet the bed.
Didn't she?
She wet the bed every night, and it was, you know.
But maybe, yeah, that could have been she just woke up, went to bed. She was scared, went to bed, or playing. What? Who knows?
Yeah. So she definitely ate pineapple after.
He had the thing. So obviously he's gone down. Either she was upset, he's given it to shut her up.
Yeah.
Or he's gone down there and said, I'll give you some pineapple. Blah blah blah. Don't tell anyone I know it's your victory. Whatever.
Yeah.
Probably the earlier one to shut her up. But I don't know where the hitting would come in that area thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
I don't get how it would get to that from giving her pineapple to hitting her.
Well, he has attacked her with a golf club before.
Yeah, but what could be the background to it? Like,
I don't know why he attacked her with a golf club. She cries and he probably.
Because you would, like I said a minute ago,
well,
you wouldn't be angry with someone and then go, right, that's it, go to the basement, right, that's it, I'm going to hit you now. You would hit someone right there and then.
Yeah,
get angry right then.
She was covered in duvets and that.
They all had a part in it. They must have, allegedly.
Yeah, I'll go for my alleged thing. Is that it seems cut and dry.
Were there any friends? What about the friends? Was there any friend that came to visit them? Or?
Apparently not. No, and there was no sign force of entry. You know, like it didn't seem like people could get in through that window. They couldn't get in. Through, well, maybe they magically got through. It seems cut and dry to me that it's my turn of events is that they've come back. They're upstairs. Patsy's up. You know, they've had a long night. They probably had a few drinks. The parents. The kids have gone to bed straight away. John Benet wakes up, wets the bed. Burke sees. He's like, come on, let's go downstairs and have pineapple. He gives her pineapple. She starts crying or they start arguing. They know they're not meant to be out of bed. He tries to shut her up like he normally does. And he smacks her over the head with a torch. Patsy hears screaming because she's probably still up a little bit. Comes downstairs and is like, what the hell have you done? And then they spend all night writing out a letter 3 times an hour and a half. They strangle her with the stuff to try and make it seem like... you know, a kidnapping and sort of more of a planned sort of thing.
But then, right? If he allegedly, well, what you're trying to say,
yeah,
and blah blah blah. But if you were to take her down into the basement, wouldn't it be a good idea to smash the window to make it look like it's a break-in?
Yeah. It seems like they thought of quite a lot, and then... If it was an intruder, then he had the weirdest note of all time, but then he'd had no DNA. Well, if he had the little bit of DNA... Well, he didn't rape her, so I don't know why there was DNA... Like,
I don't know where the
she was in her underwear, but she hadn't been raped or abused in that sort of way. She could have been touched, but, like, it was a very... If it was an intruder, he did the near-perfect job... apart from the random note. The phone call where they're saying what you're doing, it does sort of seem like, oh god, we're not going to lose 2 kids tonight, we'll cover up for you. Like, it just seems sort of weird thing to say. I just don't think it's, you know, but then there's nothing to go on for the I think the police say they did a bad job because they, you know, they didn't let him. They let him go down, and he was. I know they weren't looking for a body, but he contaminated that scene if there was anything there, and the body was on the floor. Do you know what I mean? There was not a case for DNA to be found easily, but there was nothing to go on. The police haven't charged anyone because there isn't DNA pointing towards anyone. You can have your fingerprints on a pineapple all you want. There's no fingerprints on the murder weapon, the torch, and there's no DNA belonging to the Ramseys on their underwear. There is on her skin, but that's just normal. Everyone has that. there's nothing pointing towards them, so that's why the police in 2008 said no.
That's a weird case.
Very, very weird case.
Well, I hope whoever did do it either rots in hell or
I feel
will rot
bad
in
for
hell.
Patsy if she didn't do it, because she died before knowing that she was like not a suspect.
Is the dad still alive?
John's still alive, yeah. He got cleared. He did have another son, John Andrew, but no, and is he John Andrew? I swear he is. I can't remember the other kid's name. I swear the other kid is called John Andrew. I swear he's called John Andrew. No, boy, John Andrew. But I don't know where he was at this time, but it wasn't his DNA anyway. Yeah, that's going to be episode 1. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you've liked, and these guys have liked, we'll do more of these. Because I like doing these ones.
I'm ready for some more.
Any cases that you guys would like to do? Because I've got a few in mind. The thing was, I don't really want... that's... maybe, but that one's...
What did he say?
JFK, he said. That one seems a little bit... More recent murder ones that you can think of. That you would like to do. I've got a few that I want to do.
What about that woman in the lift?
Yeah, but there's not really a lot to find out. Taslim... No. Yeah, that was a strange one. I'm thinking of doing a solve one as well, just to talk about like what happened and sort of things like that. I don't know if I should say what's coming up next, or what ones are coming up. Should I say what ones are planned?
We don't know.
Okay, yeah, because I don't really want you guys.
If we can research them otherwise.
Yeah, if you research. Let's just say.
Don't say any.
What am I thinking? There's like one unsolved, one solved, and one middle. Take your pick. Take your pick.
Ooh. Let's go for a solved one since we had none unsolved.
Okay, solved. Okay.
This time.
Solved one. Solved one will be coming up. Yeah, so John Benet, unsolved, will do the solved case of blankly blank blank. I really want to say it, can't. And then we will do one of the other ones. Can I trust you to do that one?
Yes.
What,
okay.
Allegedly?
Allegedly that parents did it.
Okay, I will say that is one of the ones. That is one of the ones, and I think the reason why we're doing this is because I like to listen and hear things, and to just find out about stuff. And I think, like this, we said I was 4, Dan was 8. We had no clue about this. I remember Dr. Phil and thinking, let's find out a bit more, and it just seems a little bit strange and weird. But then if we just talk about, we will be doing Madeleine McCann because I had that one planned. But even before you think about that is why I like to bring it to you two and you not know or not know as much and do the research is. But then even right now, before I've listened and done a little bit of research prior, you just think there's someone who's gone missing. People thought it was the parents, and now they're looking for someone else, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? But when you look into it, there are some things that I want to tell you that I found out about that. Oh, they're juicy, man. They are juicy. Let's just say that. Let's just say in every case that is not solved, because the solved one is a little bit, no, the solved one, I say every case that is either unsolved or solved, one of the people in it says something. It says a lot of strange things happen, because we're not saying that it was one of the Ramseys, blankly blank blank, could have been anyone, but they said some strange stuff, they did some strange stuff. Let me just say as a teaser for when we do that episode that Kate and Jerry McCann and their friends say a lot of strange stuff, and we'll leave it there. Allegedly. No, not allegedly, because it's on police record, but strange in my opinion. Next episode will be the solve one. something a little bit different, I think, where we know what's happened, but I will give you the story, the background, and it will be more you talking about what it would be like for the victim, and also talk about the police.
No!
And as Dan cries, and we've been on this one for like 23, so if you're here for watching me, I've been sat at the start.
I got over there.
I've been sat at the start for so long. Thanks for listening. I'm not even sure when we'll do this next one. When are we thinking?
I don't know.
Whenever. You'll see it. It'll be live, but if you don't catch it live, it'll be there. I know quite a lot of things. I just need to write down the little nitty gritty, and I'll be raring to go for number 2 of True Crime Time, I think we're going to call it. True Crime Time? I can't remember what I called it on this one. This has been a case of John Benet Ramsey. We've been Select 3, and we will see you next time. Stay safe. Allegedly, stay safe.